Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Sports show here on Calon 105 FM. It's July 23rd and we've got some grand-packed action show for you today. Joe, Stanley, Jamie Burgoyne and Andrew Pollard. I pronounced his name incorrectly, but we'll get back to that in just a second because we will be talking about the Danny Ward transfer, of course, 1.25 million going to Wrexham. How will they spend that money? We'll also be looking at the other transfers from across the summer transfer window as well so far, including Alisson going to Liverpool from AS Roma, as well as the Open and the German Grand Prix. That's coming up on the Let's Talk Sports show here on Calon 105 FM. Welcome back to the Let's Talk Sports show here on Calon 105 FM. Well, we got quite a jam-packed show for you today, but first of all, I'm going to apologise to Jamie because I pronounced his name incorrectly at the start of the show. If you want to, name drop yourself out there for all the Calon listeners, how to pronounce your name correctly?
Jamie Burgoyne, thanks for shoving the mic in my face.
Well, you're not close enough to it, so, you got to make sure that you get it correctly.
Am I close enough now?
Yes, you are.
A little too close.
Maybe too close. Okay, less of that the better. Let's get right into it and right into our probably the biggest football story of the past week here in Wrexham, which is of course the effects of the Danny Ward transfer that's taken place this week between Liverpool and Leicester City. Of course, Liverpool selling on Danny Ward, and originally a Wrexham academy player, was he?
Yes. Yeah. He was in the academy at Wrexham, and then when he was 17, didn't play a game for Wrexham, went for $100,000 to Liverpool with a clause, but it's depending on where you go. Oh, it's the fee's been disputed, the clause been disputed. But anyway, carry on.
So this clause that you're going on about is something like 10% of the transfer going back to Wrexham.
Yeah, the last I heard today was it was 15%, and the fee involved was $12.5 million. So Wrexham get just under $2 million.
Yeah, so that would make it very interesting.
But then some places say 20%, some people say 25%, others are saying 10%. The evening leader today was 15%, which equates to just under $2 million. But there's also, supposedly there's some kind of non-disclosure clause in as well, so we probably will never know for definite. But either way, Wrexham are getting a bit of money.
They certainly are. They're certainly getting a bit of money, 1.25 up to 2 million, depending on what the clause is. It's going to be an incredible amount of money coming to them for probably what must be like the first time in years. This kind of money coming into Wrexham Football Club. So really, there's like there could be like a little bit of a dilemma really amongst fans, amongst the coaches, amongst the board as well, as to how to really spend this money and if they should really spend this money right now, because Wrexham, they haven't been in the Football League now for how many years is it?
This will be 11, I think.
11 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So, 1.25 million is pretty much more than what some League 2 and League 1 clubs get per season. Yeah. Well, what does Shrewsbury get usually during a transfer window?
Not too
sure.
We don't really sell that often.
No.
When we do, it's it's quite good. We've just got Conor Goldson's just moved from Brighton to up to Rangers. I think we've got $1 million from that.
Right.
Wow.
I think West Brom, we're looking at Ryan Woods as well, and I think there's another 15% transfer sell on there, and I think they're looking at $8 million for him. So.
Okay, so it's still quite a significant amount though, really, for Wrexham to get this kind of money.
To put into perspective, we don't have a transfer budget pretty much every season. We'll be lucky if we can afford to spend maybe 20, 30, 40,000 a summer in total, and then we have to rely on the last couple of seasons we've done build the budget where fans have contributed. By June of this year, for this coming season, I think it was $25,000 that fans had put together in total over the last year. It was I think I got it written down here somewhere. It was $100,000 in total over the last year. So it's all we're scraping for money always from every angle that we can, because we're trying to we're a fan run club. So for us to get potentially up to 2 million, shy of 2 million, or just either way over $1 million. To get that chunk of money, that's a lot. That represents pretty much years of a budget. But like you said, it's just the how do we spend it now? There's lots of different ways where it could go. I think some fans are expecting literally us to have 2 million to go and spend on an entire new squad.
See, this is what I was going to ask right now. I was going to go around the room and essentially dedicate this first 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so of the first opening part of the show as to how do we think Wrexham should spend this money, because it is a bit of a dilemma for them, because they do have quite a few options that they could do for it. I think I read on the Leader or something 5 options that they've got for this 1.25 million. You either invest in the future. So, Wrexham, as it's known for a decent academy to some sorts compared to a lot of other teams around the country, they can produce products, as we've seen in Danny Wood. Pay off the racecourse lease, of course. The whole issue with the racecourse.
Yeah, that wouldn't be possible. Yeah, that's not enough.
It could contribute towards it, but wait and see on that. Invest in the current squad, potentially push them back into the Football League, make improvements to the racecourse itself, because if you walk past this racecourse, like almost every day, like Andrew does, or if the Wrexham area, then about the standing stand on the far side, the Kop near the railway lines that has not been used for a couple of years now. So it could be good to use that money to improve that facility there, or save it for a rainy day completely and sit on it for now and let's see what happens in the next few years or so. So Andrew, tell you what, from a fan perspective, Andrew, how would you want to spend this money? And then from a club's perspective, how do you think they will spend it?
I'd like to think that I think from both in the same way. You do get some fans who are very passionate and just want to see results on the pitch straight away, but then you've also got to have more of a business head on in a way as well, and just think of what is best for the club in its current capacity. We've got this 99-year lease on the racecourse, which the money wouldn't be able to afford to buy that out necessarily. With the Kop, it's a tricky one with the Kop. That's where I used to stand all the time for all my infancy going to Wrexham, and I do miss standing there, but the money wouldn't be enough to renovate the Kop. If being honest, the Kop's going to need to be flattened and built back up, you'd imagine, just because of the cost it takes to renovate it otherwise. And if we did open the Kop for some reason, then it's not going to increase the attendance. It's just going to scatter thinner across the ground, which I did. I mean, I love that stand, the Kop, but I don't think that's a way to go forward. I think it's just going to be a case of using a lot of it for general housekeeping, having some money there in our back pocket to know we're safe, because our financial struggles have been well known over the past couple of decades, really. And also, obviously, put some money into the first team squad, but not only a percentage. Give the manager, just so he knows that he's got maybe a couple $100,000 behind him if he wants. We've got to trust in the board, we've got to trust in the manager. I was joking about it then off air, how some people are already saying that tomorrow's game, Tuesday's game, a friendly away at Macclesfield, is Sam Ricketts' last chance.
Bringing the big guns now, are we? Yeah, we've got the money to do so.
No, I wouldn't say that, but it's just that some fans, you've got to trust the manager. The manager's been given the job for a reason. He hasn't managed a single league game, a competitive game. He's had some friendlies, a handful of friendlies with a squad that he's starting to assemble, and people are already calling for him to be this is it, this is make or break, a friendly, a meaningless friendly that is all about getting your fitness together, trying to work on the system, get the players to gel together. It's like I trust the board and I trust the manager to do what they think is best with this money.
Fair enough. Joe, welcome to the show. You haven't really said much so far, but I thought I'd include you right now. From an outside perspective, obviously you're not a Wrexham fan, as far as I'm aware. You're pretty hardcore Liverpool, but how do you think Wrexham should use this money to potentially coax someone like you to come maybe even watch a couple of games here in the future? Do you think?
I've watched a couple of games in the past and wasn't exactly thrilling. No offence.
No, it's not. It's not. It's been dire, especially the last few seasons.
But I think, to be honest, the housekeeping thing was an interesting point, because obviously with the financial struggles, I didn't think of that. My initial thought was, well, they should be investing in the squad to do what they can to push themselves into the Football League, because obviously you look at Tranmere Rovers as an example this season, they've gone up and they've been able to spend money this summer that they've not really had in previous years on better quality of players. So in theory, if they push themselves up, they'll get that bigger budget and will be able to compete in the League 2, hopefully. I'm not saying straight away for promotion, but you survive and then build that way.
Just to interject there, sorry, Joe, one big spanner in that work, so is the fact that there's only one automatic promotion spot, and the way that Salford is spending money at the moment, it's going to be, even if we went out and spent all this money on players, it's going to be hard to compete with Salford.
Do you think it's worth sitting on it then for now? And then wait until Salford's out the league and see who comes down?
It's one way to look at it like that, but you're always going to have, there's always going to, in the time you've been in the conference, you've had teams come and go. You've had a Crawley, you've had a Fleetwood, all these teams that come through, Forest Green, that come through the league from the lower pyramids with some cash daddy behind them, some fat cat behind them, and there's always going to be that challenge. It's just, It really is. You can't predict it as such. There's always going to be some team coming up with a load of money behind him. There's always going to be a big team. The longer you stay in the conference, in non-league football, the National League is these days, the more league teams are coming into it. Every season that are dropping out of the football league. So it's always going to be tricky. Whatever season you go with it, I'd say I'm not saying be frugal with it, but I'm just saying don't be going trigger happy on getting players in. Look at the youth. We don't even own our own. We don't even have our own training ground. We train on 9 acre because we sold off our training ground, which is
Collies.
Yeah. The words I wanted to say about that I can't say on community radio, but okay. So it's just it's not necessarily all about the playing squad. Yeah, if we had a brilliant team playing great football, I'd love it. I'd love us to get promoted, and hopefully we do. But it's just a case of there's a lot of it's a case of spinning a lot of plates with this one, I think, with the money we've got.
Okay, Jamie, you're wearing your TNS shirt today. We'll be doing a preview for that the game in Europe later on this week for the YouTube channel. So make sure you catch it on Let's Talk Sports YouTube channel for that preview there later on in the week. But for Wrexham's perspective here, how do you think they should look to be spending this money? Because TNS every year they get some money from participating in Europe. How do they spend that money? Do you think that's a plan that Wrexham should potentially follow with this big investment that getting for the football club, which is a big investment in their eyes?
Yeah, well, TNS, they put a lot of money back into the community and stuff like that. So I think they built a bowling alley out of their first one. So they've tried to make it almost into a big sort of like activity place as well as a football pitch. But I think a good marquee signing is always good. But however, if you look at Salford when they've signed Adam Rooney for 5K a week, there's so much pressure on him to score. So if you see Adam Rooney, not scoring the first couple of games, watch the fans turn, incredibly salty, as it were. But yeah, I think if you look to sign up lower down, to put investment in, but do save up a lot more. You do see teams crumbling quite a lot in the conference. Yeah,
it can be bad if you make the wrong investment, especially with this kind of money, and it backfires on you completely. So that might be like the major concern for Wrexham moving forward, because they haven't had this amount of money in years, and if one wrong move, and it could be even worse situation for them, because if they end up investing in a player like in Rooney and bringing him in for $5,000 a week,
we wouldn't be doing that. I don't think, even with the money we've got, we wouldn't be spending that on wages. I don't think anybody in the conference will. I'm not privy particularly to that much information, but I think like on average a Wrexham player a signing would be maybe $700-800 a week. So to be thinking of $5,000 a week is just that wouldn't be plausible for anybody else in the football league, in the non-league other than Salford. But a marquee signing would be nice. But I think as well, one thing that maybe I wouldn't be surprised if we're waiting for is Sam Ricketts has just come in charge. It's his first job in football, his first managerial job in football. So maybe they might think, well, let's see how he goes on until Christmas, and because for all we know, I've got a lot of faith in him. But for all we know, he could be a complete bust as a manager, and we could be in the bottom 4 by October. And so you think, would you want to be trusting him with all this money? I think he'll do well, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we're holding back a little bit from the playing squad with the money until maybe see how things are in Christmas, so we know we've got it there. Want to see how the season starts to shape out. I wouldn't be surprised. We will bring. I'd imagine we bring in a few more players before the start of the season. But obviously, with the conference, start of the season is just around the corner. Literally, the 4th?
It must be starting the same weekend as the Football League, the 4th of August.
It is, yeah. We're Dover away.
Can I ask a question? Have you got any money from the Louis Moult transfer last
January? Supposedly we did, but again, it's all a lot of these things are undisclosed, and you don't hear that much about it. But yeah, when Louis Moult went to Preston, that was we were supposedly had some money on that. Before that, we had some money from Neil Taylor when he left Swansea to go to Aston Villa. And in terms of any other big sales before that, there's not been many. The one that comes to mind, which is ages ago, probably before most of you were even born, was like 1997. Brian Hughes left us to go to Birmingham after we got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, and that was just shy of $1 million. I think it was about $850,000. But that's 20 years ago now. So
fair enough.
On the wages thing, I remember hearing that Louis Moult was on £500 a week here at Wrexham, and then went to $5,000 at Motherwell, and everyone's going, "Well, you can't blame me, can you?"
No, it's all right. Anybody in any other line of work, you take a 500% wage increase. My maths have gone out the window. But yeah, I think sometimes people, especially people who aren't immersed in non-league football and lower league football, don't quite realise the financial sums that are involved. That was our top goal scorer there, our top striker, who's on 500 quid a week. People think of superstar footballers and they think that they're on 20 grand, 10 grand, or at this level they might think they're on 2 grand, 3 grand a week. It's not that. It's not much more than your average man on the street. And so when they've got families, they've got mortgages, they've got bills hanging over their heads. You can a lot of fans are easy to jump on the bandwagon when a player decides to leave a club when they get a better offer. But the level of football we're at and the level of finances on offer. You can't hold it against players, I don't think.
It's the same when it comes to managers as well. Shrewsbury took Paul Hurst from Grimsby. This great prospect, and he took us all the way to Wembley, and straight after he went and signed for Ipswich. A lot of fans,
to play a final,
included, going absolutely.
I was going to say these something ain't loyal, but I don't think I can say that word on the radio. But we'll get to that. As you mentioned about TNS earlier, just quickly give us a little bit of a snip preview of the game coming up this Thursday and why people should come over to watch our preview on the YouTube channel.
Absolutely, we've got Lincoln Red Imps, who are a Gibraltar side. Who I think they won the Gibraltar Premier League. I think last year. We previously were in the Champions League. We lost 5-4 on aggregate to Shakinja, a Macedonian side, after losing 5-0 away, which great result.
Yeah.
Almost did the impossible. We came back 4-0 win at home. Almost did, if we'd have gotten one more goal, which we were pressing quite hard for. It would have been the best. It would have been the greatest comeback in Champions League. 5-0.
Oh really?
Being overturned has never been done before. But if we bring the same sort of form we did against Shakinja at home, we're looking at a 10-0 win. And also it's watching Europa League, in the locals. You see it on the TV.
This is the third qualifying round, is it? So they got
second. This will be
okay. So they got two. If they get through this, they've got 2 more stages for the group stage. Is that right, or is it one more stage?
I think it's 2 more stages.
Okay.
I'm not too sure in Europa League. I remember studying a lot for the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think it's the third and then a playoff and then.
Right. Okay. Yes, so not far away, and potentially European football could be at TNS next season if they get the correct results. And if you want to make sure that you know up to date all about TNS, be sure to check out our preview of that game coming up on our YouTube channel later on this week. But now we're going to go for a music break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the transfer window so far, mainly looking at the Premier League, but we'll also talk about these guys' personal clubs as well, as to what transfers they like, what deals they like as well, and what teams need to be doing a little bit more action before now and Friday the 4th or 5th of August when the transfer window closes itself. But when we come back from the break, that's what we'll be talking about. But for now, enjoy Message in a Bottle by The Police. Welcome back to the Let's Talk Sports show here on Calon 105 FM. Well, I said before the break that the transfer window closes on August the 4th and 5th. I was corrected because it closes on the 9th, the day before the Manchester United versus Burnley, is it? I can't remember who they played, but they played Leicester game on the Friday night to kick things off in the Premier League. But between now and then, we're going to have some jam-packed action in the transfer window because the World Cup's gone and over. Pre-season is fully underway. Some players haven't turned up for pre-season because obviously the World Cup. But we've got plenty of transfers to really talk about and to really dive into. Just to begin with, guys, obviously you all have your own personal clubs and whatnot. But let's just go around and just get some thoughts to what we think has been the best transfer really for your own personal clubs, really. So, Jamie, if you want to say Shrewsbury rather than TNS.
I'll do both
if you want, but,
Why not?
I don't want to put you any under pressure if you want to do Shrewsbury because,
We've got the England C team striker, the top scorer for the England C team last season, Fajiri Okenberry, which I've probably completely destroyed the name of, but yeah, he's a solid-looking striker from Dagenham last season. He scored in, I think, every pre-season game so far, bar one, which he was essentially scoring, and then Charlie Taylor for Burnley decided to stick it in his own net.
Oh.
But yeah, also Kane Lewis at TNS, I was talking to you Joe about before, the ex-Wonder Kids prospect from Liverpool, who played against in the Shakinja game and was just solid down the right wing. Blistering pace, and yeah, I think another easy season for TNS.
Fair enough. Andrew?
For Wrexham, Luke Young, I think, from Torquay is one that's got my eye. I can see your blank expression of who is this guy.
Like I said off the if it's championship below, straight over my head.
You're like a poor man's Gabe Marcotti. His championship doesn't count for him either.
I find that offensive. So
as a Nottingham Forest fan, you would on that. Yeah, Luke Young from Torquay. A creative force in midfield, which is for Wrexham last season. We were ridiculously solid at the back. We were ridiculously solid with two sitting midfielders, but I can't remember a time last season where I saw a midfielder get past the striker. There was no real link there. It didn't seem to be working. So I'm hoping that Young can bring something to that.
Hopefully he can bring some attacking flair.
Yeah, and he's known for he loves a shot from goal from outside the box. Scored a screamer against Wrexham, actually, a volley 2 seasons ago for Torquay. So him and Mike Fondop up front. I've got a good feeling about him. He scored I'm pretty sure every game apart from one in pre-season. Relatively unknown. Been studying at university for the last few years, so I think this is his first ever pre-season.
Here at Glendale?
No, somewhere down south. I can't remember where. Oh. Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, everybody was expecting a big name number 9 signing. He is our new number 9. So I'll be backing him to the hill. Hopefully.
Sounds like it could be exciting times for Wrexham.
Yeah, I don't know. I've learned
not to get too excited.
Yeah,
pretty much like me as a Forest fan.
Yeah.
Also, Luke Summerfield as well.
Player, so. Yeah, ex-Shrewsbury, ex-Grimsby, ex-Plymouth Argyle. A bit more of an older head.
Sounds like it's everyone's ex.
Yeah, he's what he gets around.
He's a good solid League 2 player.
I've heard he's very solid, 30 experienced head of midfield.
Good with set pieces as well. He's
nice.
Good
he's there on my little list, actually, people to talk about.
People to talk about.
It was, yeah. No, look forward to it. Yeah. No, Kim Karlström. That was Kim Karlström.
The failed Swedish Arsenal player.
Failed? No, never failed.
He won an FA Cup.
Really well
He won an FA Cup and didn't do anything.
Oh, FA Cup, big man. Joe. I'm not gonna give you Cater because that was last summer. He was just delayed. His flight was delayed or something. Well. But what do you want to? What are your feelings on Liverpool so far in the window? Obviously, probably the most active really of all the top 6 teams, and really pushing on to a challenge to potentially challenge City for the title this season.
It's not been a bad window so far, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. That's the thing though. If it all fails this season, people are just gonna if we don't compete this season, people are going to be like, well, you spent all that money, what's happening?
Well, that's only if Liverpool fans are fickle, and surely Liverpool fans are fickle, are they? No, never.
No. I'm fine with, I'm happy we've spent the money this summer. Some of the money we've had left over from Coutinho last January, the 146 million, so that's fine. We've filled in the defensive mid position because we needed a solid one, because Henderson has been playing 6 and he's done quite well as a 6, but that's not his natural position. So we've got Fabinho and he's
on the bench. Is that his natural position? Yeah, sub. Yeah. That's not a no. That's not a no. You're falling out of love with him.
Don't look at me. Defend yourself. Come on.
Decline to comment. I'll give him a chance. Give Endo a chance.
To be honest, though, I think Fabinho is no Joe Allen.
Yeah.
No.
He won't ever match the Welsh savvy.
Does actually sound like Endo Rodgers. I think Shaqiri's an interesting one. He'll probably be more of a squad player. Yeah. But I think he could, if he gets his attitude right and works hard, could push for a position.
Sounds like every manager ever who's managed him says that.
Yeah. And obviously, I'm really over the moon with Alisson, because obviously we needed a goalkeeper. Some people might say we've arguably overpaid, but it's demand and need, isn't it? Basically, there's not that many goalkeepers available. We needed a goalkeeper. Roman knew we needed one, and I think they were trying to make up a little bit of cash from Mo Salah last summer, so we've just paid them what we needed. World record fee. That position's sorted, hopefully boxed off for the next 10 years.
I think it was supply and demand as well. Alisson being one of the best goalkeepers of the past year since his move to Roma. And then, Real Madrid, this whole issue as to whether or not they're going to replace Keylor Navas, Courtois in the picture, Alisson as well. Liverpool need to just to jump on it, really, and to get the deal done. And I'm glad that they've finally, after summers of, sometimes leaving it a little bit too long to get the deals done. I mean, for example, a lot of people criticised the Oxlade-Chamberlain deal last summer for how late that was done and how much they paid for it. But, obviously that's turned out okay, but you don't want that kind of mentality at the football club, do you? You want to try and get the pre-season with the players so that they can get that team chemistry strong, so when the games do matter in the Premier League, they can kick things off straight away. And I think Liverpool are in a good picture to really get themselves a good, strong start to the Premier League next season because of that. But Joe, other teams have, of course, been making transfers. What else have you seen out there that you've liked in particular? That's cast your mind as to think, yes, that's a good transfer for that team, and he's going to do well for them.
I'll tell you what, Spurs have signed a good player the other day called No One.
Yeah.
Low blow.
Low blow.
It's a bit of banter.
Tell you what, why don't you throw Burnley in there as well, because they haven't signed anyone either.
I had to laugh because it did literally just say on Sky Sports the other day, players in, and then none, and it looked like they'd signed a player called None. It was quite... That's the whole joke.
They've got a new stadium. It doesn't look like a toilet seat.
Oh, awful. Yeah, I saw those pictures today on Twitter.
Chelsea have signed a good player in Jorginho, a good prospect for the defensive mid. He should be all right in the sense. So if they lose Conte, I'm not saying he's going to leave, Kante is, but say if he got injured, they've got someone that can fill in that role there. I'm trying to think. Arsenal, that's interesting talk about them signing another goalkeeper possibly. There was a gossip about.
I don't think they'll do that unless they're selling either Ospina or Czech. But yeah,
Lino's an interesting move there. We'll see how he turns out because he's been decent at Leverkusen. People haven't rated him that highly, but I thought he's done okay. It'll be interesting to see how he does there. I'm just trying to think of other transfers off the top of my head.
It's all right if you can't think about.
Marvez will be a good signing for City because of how well he's done at Leicester. I think.
But when's he going to play? That's it.
That's the only problem.
That's almost like a vanity transfer. Just like well, it's like if you were playing Football Manager back in the day, and it's just a case of right, I'm going to buy all the best players, and I'm just gonna some of them are going to get unhappy in my squad, and I'll deal with it at the time, and just going to take everyone's best players. Just to jump in, I'd say one of the signings I'm looking forward to is Lucas Torreira at Arsenal. I think that could be brilliant for them because how many seasons has it been at Arsenal have needed this defensive midfielder? And
since Vieira, really.
Well, yeah, and even that, it's like, do you class him as a proper defensive midi? Really, he's more all action, box to box. But he's one that stands out for me as a key signing. And sadly, I think your Copites have done really well in the transfer window. It pains me to say that. I think you overpaid the balance and had a lot of other options. If you're getting 67, was it? Nearly 70 million.
6.8 technically speaking. But around it.
Yeah, we'll say 70 million just to be kind. I think
he is the most expensive goalkeeper ever now, transfer ever now.
Yeah.
So what were we expecting from him then at Liverpool?
Hat-trick a game.
Hat-trick a game.
Yeah, that's it.
You got to beat Mo Salah's first goal scorer record with that kind of money. You double the amount, basically. So come on, productivity.
Yeah. The thing I'm dreading is if he makes a mistake, there'll be headlines like Alisson in Blunderland and all that. Like, you're just like
Alisson in Blunderland, right?
You sound like you work for a tabloid, mate.
I come up with these headlines, but don't get the jobs of the papers.
Because you don't have anything else to go with it. It's like back page and pictures. It's a picture book. It's a picture newspaper.
Just hire me for the headline.
Yeah, maybe there's some like subliminal messaging there that the Liverpool fan, his first headline that he's come up with is one where something's gone wrong for Alisson and Liverpool. Positive vibe, surely you got that. I think Fabinho's been a good signing for you as well. Be interested to see how Fred does at Man United, I guess. Whether I don't know, there's a lot of hustle. Yeah, it's Fred the Red. Yeah, interesting to see because it's a lot of hustle bustle in the Premier League in midfield. So
certainly different from the Ukrainian league.
Exactly, that's it. It's.
Of course, you used to play for Shakhtar Donetsk. Yeah, in case you didn't know.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. I think because it's one thing to stroll through the Ukrainian league, but other players have done it before and they've come to the Premier League and been brilliant. Others have come and been awful. So that could go either way on that.
Is there any other transfers that you particularly had your eye on, Andrew?
Well,
I think Richarlison could be confirmed for Everton today.
Yeah, I think he's on the medical. I think I saw this morning. Undoubtedly on his day. He's
and what do you think?
Great talent.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to say the 50 million I've heard. Well, at first it was 50 million I heard. Then today on Sky Sports it was kind of 50. Lower fee, but it potentially rising to 50. It's a lot of money for somebody who can be brilliant one day and not the next. But Marco Silva wants him. He's worked with him. He knows him better than any of us. So I guess if you're an Evertonian, you've got to go with what he thinks. I'm really looking to see what he can do with Davy Klaassen this season. I said last year I was made up that he signed for Everton last year.
When Davy Klaassen signed for Everton, I thought this was going to be the start of something great for him. Playing in the Eredivisie for so long at Ajax, of course, had that not so good game against United in the Europa League final.
Yeah, that's why United. It's a cup final, Europa Cup final.
But I honestly thought he would beat Rooney out for the position in attacking midfield and go on for be a kind of like a 10-10 kind of guy in terms of goals and assists. But he's not really stepped up to the mark there, has he? No, and you got people like Lookman coming through now.
Yeah,
he's a bit more of a winger,
doesn't he?
Sorry?
He wants out, though.
Yeah, he's been
apparently Marco Silva wants to keep him and play him into the squad. So it plays into the really positional.
And Ken Morales is back now,
Big
Super
Ken.
Kev. Yeah.
I was once told that he was the essentially the poor man's Ronaldo, but I think he's a bit
I thought it was
Nani.
Lower. Isn't that Nani? So. Nani was a poor man's Ronaldo.
No, because
Charisma. One transfer just... Shimao, I forgot. That's something I've heard for a while. One transfer I'd like to touch on briefly was the situation with Bas Dost. Has everybody familiar with Bastos?
Well,
Lisbon.
is he still at Lisbon then?
Yeah, well, he
Or did he buy out his contract?
they kind of agreed to terminate it because he's re-signed this week for Sporting Lisbon after when they lost to Atletico Madrid in the Europa League. A lot of their fans weren't happy and went to the training ground and actually just like attacked them, beat them, slapped them all around. So because of that, the club didn't really have a leg to stand on. So I think it was 9 players that all cancelled their contracts there and then because
we've got a few of them at Forest.
Oh yeah, they gone to you.
We got a few of them
big
because
Portuguese
of
connection.
our renewed relationship. Well, renewed. I don't say. I think I want to say. Brand spanking new, and I didn't see this coming out of anywhere with relationship with the super agent Jorge Mendes. So
don't knock it.
I saw what happened to Wolves last season, and so I'm really excited about it. So,
Wolves who today is seemingly getting João Moutinho for $5 million from Monaco. $5 million.
And we've got
Patricio.
They've also got Patricio.
Yeah.
As well, who
Patricio from Sporting Lisbon.
Neves.
Lisbon, that one who cancelled his contract, but I think there's some big legal battle about to start.
I saw something about that. Yeah.
Won't be surprised. What do you think of the transfer window so far, Jamie? What chances have you particularly liked?
Bobby Reid to Cardiff.
Yeah.
What a player. The man who scores goals for fun. I mean, Bristol City fans won't be happy, but
No.
he's just crossed one.
Certainly going to be a big loss for them because he was in the teens last season, wasn't he, in the Championship?
I
think it was his second highest goal scorer? Was it your first highest? No.
Wasn't Big Mitt.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's certainly going to be a good signing for them in the Premier League. But it's going to be an interesting one to do whether or not whether Wolves, Cardiff, and Fulham are able to adapt themselves to the Premier League. But especially in terms of Fulham signing Sarri, who was linked to Barcelona last summer.
And is it the other French defender?
Oh, I can't remember. He's from Nice as well, though, isn't he?
Le Marchand, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't remember.
I think we should do a wager to see how long Neil Warnock lasts at Cardiff.
I hate him. He's such a ball.
He does really well in the Championship.
What we're doing?
Every time he gets to the Premiership,
are we doing over and under in terms of how many months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Between
So
August and
who wants to take October?
I think he's going to last, to be honest.
You think it's going to last? Okay, so you got the full season then.
I think November.
You're going to take November.
Maybe December.
Okay, you can't have 2 months.
I'm going to go December in that case.
December.
I'll have to go November then because I was going to go December.
Okay, I'm going to stick with February because I think it's going to start off well, but then slowly flutter out. I'm not going to make any transfers in the January transfer window, and that'll be the end of his story.
Are we all writing off Cardiff already before balls kicked that they're getting relegated?
Pretty much.
To speak for Jamie, who's not here.
Mexico.
Deary me.
Mexico to win the Premier League.
that would be something. For me myself, I like Lewis Grabban at Forest. Excellent signing. Over the course of Sunderland and Villa last season, scored 20 goals in the Championship. If you can replicate something like that for Forest next season, it's going to be good times. But I'm keeping my expectations realistic for the moment and saying, playoffs. Let's get the playoff position sorted down first.
That's the equivalent of when people say before World Cup that I'd be happy if England get to the quarterfinals. That's like the standard. Playoffs.
And what happened? I said quarterfinals and they get to the semi-finals.
So that means Forest are going up.
Automatic promotion. It's not winning the league. Automatic.
I'm pretty sure Birmingham fans were saying the same last season.
Oh God, yeah.
But Birmingham fans, they sell their players like right at the last second in the transfer window, like Jolter, and that's it. That's the end of them. So and they sack down managers without too much of time given to him. I remember what's his name? Was it Gary Monk?
Yeah. Gary Rowett.
Gary Rowan as well.
Gary Rowett, because Gary Monk went to Middlesbrough, wasn't it, last season?
Yeah.
And then he got the boot from. Was he still there? I don't know.
No, I'm pretty soon he got to.
I was like, but the Championship as like eclipsed, as encapsulated by Fulham last season is like all it takes is one really good run and you can just flip it all around. So always an interesting league to watch.
I'm trying to think where he is now.
Gary Rowett.
Gary Rowett's at Stoke. Gary Monk, hasn't he gone to Birmingham?
I'm not sure now. I've not kept up with Gary.
I'm pretty certain Gary Monk is at Birmingham. That's what I was saying.
Because
he played Steve Cotterill, didn't he?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah,
because I should know these things. I'm a Birmingham.
This is your ballpark.
But I don't go to Birmingham games after. I mainly go to Villa and West Brom.
I'd like Villa to go up.
I think you're.
I think they will.
Chasing a lost dream there. I think that'll be.
John Terry's no longer there, so that's one less reason to not
Derby,
like him. He's such a
No,
hell
he's too busy contemplating retirement and slamming people that suggest it on Instagram.
I
So
thought he'd already
But
signed.
those rumours of Thierry Henry to Aston Villa died down after like a day. That was this week that came out that he was going to replace
that's going to be
Bruce,
way too much money.
Yeah.
That was absolutely ridiculous. Who came up with that? Before we get,
I don't know, but could he command that much money though? Is it's his first job?
Not at
management,
Villa.
really. Yeah, I don't know.
I think they should bring him in as a strikers coach. That'd be a good idea. Or assistant
Tim
manager.
Sherwood's
they
looking
don't
for a
really
job.
need. Sorry.
Tim Sherwood's looking for a job, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe looks like his prodigy sometimes with that gilet that he wears sometimes.
Left it at home today.
Quickly, before we move on to a music break, I'll just quickly go through what the top 6 have done this window, and we'll get your thoughts on what teams still need work to do. So Arsenal brought in Liechtenstein, Leno, Socrates.
Yes.
Is easier to read. Torreira and
Pronounce it all.
sorry.
Pronounce it all. Go for it.
All right. Matteo Guendouzi. No.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
I'm just challenging you.
Okay.
Yeah,
And of course, Mertesacker and Cazorla and Jack Wilshere, the notable names that have left the football club. Moving on to Chelsea, the only signing that they got so far is that Jorginho one. So potentially Sarri will have to bring in more players at that point to try and improve the situation there. Notable names that have left, just scrolling down the list, probably Kennedy, the biggest name on that list, that's gone to Newcastle. And Mason Mount, of course, been quite a lot talked about over the radio the past couple of days, gone on loan to Derby.
I think Lewis
so
Baker
far
at
this
Leeds would be
window.
interesting for a season. See how he does there.
Yes.
After doing well for Vitesse last season.
Yes.
We at Shrewsbury, we've just got Colquitt on loan.
Oh, okay.
yesterday, So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed him off the list, didn't you? The big
Well,
one. The big one.
the big guy.
Yeah.
The big man. Moving on from that. Everton, we already talked about Richarlison. Potentially we confirmed later today, depending on when you're listening to this. Of course, Wayne Rooney, probably the biggest name on that list that left to go to DC United. His Premier League career is pretty much over and done at that point there.
Career's pretty much over and done with.
Oh, that's a bit.
This weekend, that weekend he was poor.
He sells shirts. Oh, yeah.
Oh dear.
Got
Dear
friends who work in
me.
Top Shop, we do that.
Liverpool, we already talked about Alisson, Shaqiri, Keita, and Fabinho.
Isaac Christie Davis.
Notable names that are left include Emre Can, who's gone to Juventus, John Flanagan, as long as he's not causing himself any trouble, has been released
Flanagan
as well.
off to Rangers at one point. Did that ever happen?
He has gone to
Rumour?
Rangers. He has gone to Rangers, but
sent
it's
3
just not been
players to
updated on
Rangers.
here. And of course, Danny Ward, we've already mentioned about him at the start of the show,
Danny Ward.
going to Leicester City. Speaking of Leicester City, they sold Riyad Mahrez to Manchester City. The only signing of the window so far, but Premier League champions potentially maybe need to get a few more players before now at the end of the season. Notable names that have left include Yaya Toure, end of his contract, potentially linking up to West Ham maybe at some point with Pellegrini once more. Could we see that happen?
Didn't he say you'd play for £1 a week or something if
Yeah.
you joined a club?
That was his agent, though.
Yeah.
His agent says all the
Could
things
you
all the time.
imagine?
I've
Like,
got
his-
a
References
quiz.
listing.
Yeah. There we go, Sammy.
We should get an LTS team together. And
I mean, you got 1.25 million, so you can bring him to
Yeah,
Wrexham.
we can-
I'm sure he loved playing at the race course.
I'd take him all day.
Yeah. Okay.
That big-
Moving on
big
to
bus turning in the middle.
moving on to Manchester United. Get Diego Dalot, who's not even going to play until September because he's injured. Fred Ward mentioned from Shakhtar, and Lee Grant bringing in to push up those homegrown players for Europe. Signing from Stoke, never going to get a game.
What's a signing?
Notable leavings include Carrick, who's retired. Sam Johnston, who's had a good season at Aston Villa, has gone to West Brom now, so across town for him.
And sexy Daily.
Daley Blind's gone to Ajax
Love
for,
Daily Blind.
was it 10 million or something like that?
No, it's
They,
Crazy
14.
amount.
they
We're
butchered
missing
that
out.
song though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Ajax.
We're missing Man United's biggest player there, Dean Henderson, off to Sheffield United.
Chef you.
Yeah. Hell of a goalkeeper. He'll be replacing Pickford in a couple of years.
Okay.
And if you tell him that on Twitter, he will like it
Yeah,
instantly.
he did actually.
Did he like it? Did
That's
he tweet him?
me
Did
and Joe
you?
found out.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he said to me, he sent me a message saying, "Oh, Dean Henderson will be in the England squad." I went, "Okay, I'll take your word for
Straight
it."
away got
Literally
a like.
5 minutes later, I was
So I
like,
know he's a fantastic goalkeeper. He will be playing in the top flight.
I'll take your word for it then.
So you're on top.
And Tottenham, they haven't really signed anyone. They haven't really seen anyone depart yet either. So we'll see about that. We'll come back after the music break and discuss quickly what teams need to improve before now and the end of the transfer window. But until then, enjoyed Radio Gaga. Welcome back to the Let's Talk Sports show here on Calon 105 FM. We've got roughly around about just over 5 minutes left to go in the show. I said before the break, for the guys to have a think about as to which team they think needs to be a bit more improving, needs to improve themselves before now and the end of the transfer window by bringing in a couple of players, or react to the situation as the case of other teams around them bringing in players. For their respective teams and improving themselves. So I don't know if anyone wants to jump in first, particularly and suggest a team that potentially needs to buy a few players between now and the end of the window. Tottenham potentially, they haven't got any players so far yet. Chelsea's lacking a couple of.
Man United, that's the big one.
Man United as well is the big one. Jose Mourinho complaining that his team's not a team; it's just a group of players. I mean, what's going on there?
Never Jose's fault. Never
Jose's fault.
Yeah, I think. Chelsea bringing in Jorginho is a good piece of business, and I think Murat will be off. Looks like maybe to AC Milan and maybe Higuain coming in, which I don't know how well that'll go. But I think, and Tottenham, I think they will make some signings before the window closes. But I think Tottenham, there's not that much they really need to do. I don't think Tottenham. I think Man United's a more pressing issue, especially when they're supposedly trying to compete with Man City. There's a lot that they need to sort out the centre half situation. Basically, today Harry Maguire again being linked with 65 million being bandied about. Toby Alderweireld being linked, Leonardo Bonucci, Jerome Boateng this morning as well. Another one I saw, which no, stay clear of it. But the interesting one was me. It seemed to be that Man United have to sell to bring in players now, and that's one of the hold up in them bringing in Alexandro is that Luke Shaw doesn't want to leave, and with them bringing in Harry Maguire, the talk is that Marcus Rojo would be the centre half to leave. And surely, to me, I've got no affiliation with Manchester United at all, but you're thinking if you're going to let one of your centre halves go, Phil Jones would be out the door, Chris Smalling would be out the door, both before
Chris
Marcus
Smalling
Rojo
was linked to West Brom last season, and suddenly he's starting for United.
Yeah, if that's it. I mean, if it's Man United, this top level team, this the greatest team in Premier League history, historically speaking, then you can't make it do with Chris Smalling in the centre half. And I think if you're going to get rid of any of your centre halves, Rojo's probably the one out of the ones you've got you keep. And Bailly, I think Bailly's a great player, but his fitness is questionable.
He's poor.
I see Lindelof. I'd give another year or two to. I think just because he's more of a ball playing centre half. He's not your big strong lumbering centre half. He puts himself about, and that's what the Premier League's about.
Back. Why have United brought him? Because they don't play passing games.
Well, that's what they used to.
Jose loves to play from the defence. He doesn't like to attack.
That's what you used to have John Terry doing at one point.
Likes to park the bus.
Yeah, John Terry used to try and bring it out, but he's John Terry, so I really thought he was. Words again we can't say on the air, but Man United historically before that you had Rio Ferdinand to bring the ball out, Gary Pallister in the 90s would always bring the ball out, Paul McGrath going back before that, Lou Macari even in the 80s, but I'm going far too long back. Yeah, John O'Shea. No, I'm not going to mention Wes
Brown. Yeah, I was going to say this as well.
But yeah, I think Man United are the ones that need the biggest ball, and Tony Marshall supposedly leaving as well. It's
Chelsea.
Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and there's someone else as well.
Borussia
Dortmund, yeah, which I think that'd be brilliant. If I was him, I'd be eyeing up Dortmund, where you know you're going to go and you're going to play. Bayern Munich, you're going to be in that team. Chelsea, you'd be in that team. I don't think United, ideally, would want to sell him to a domestic rival anyway.
No.
But, yeah, that's just my 10 cents.
Fair enough. Jamie, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking Fulham.
Yeah.
I do. The signings they've made with Marchand and Sarri are fantastic businesses. And just to see Sessegnon in the Premier League is going to be very interesting. Is he going to just look like a normal youth player?
How long do we think he's going to stay there at Fulham? Do you think he's going to get a transfer
after a season?
After a season,
yeah.
I think that's realistic.
Depends on what progress they make, really, because he seems to genuinely love the club, and he's at the point now where he's a young, innocent lad. You see his interviews, and I think he is still 17 now, but you see the interviews he was doing towards the end of the season, and he was very humble, he was very modest, he was very just a normal. He takes his kit home to wash, type of thing. After the game was one he did at some point, and you think, I don't know. I think if Fulham can show ambition and play good football and maybe somehow get a top half finish, I could maybe see him staying another year. It all depends on them, really, because its talent is clearly bigger than what Fulham can offer as a team over the next few years. But I don't think he's not one of those. Doesn't seem like the mercenary type, but I think he will move at some point, obviously. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he does. If he's playing more attacking this season, like he was for the second half of the season, because he was phenomenal when he started playing more. Well, he's great at left back. He was chipping in with goals, and then he started playing more as a left winger and as a support striker. Looking forward to see what Fulham do.
Awesome. Joe, quickly for us, mate.
I think Palace need to do some business.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I can't even think of who they brought, to be
No,
honest.
they lost Johan Cabaye. I love Johan Cabaye, but he's gone to...
if Zaha goes as well, I think
Yeah.
Sherwood's part of the swap deal. So
I know they were possibly going to get rid of Townsend to Newcastle, but they needed to shift Ritchie, but he's not going to Stoke now, so that deal's probably dead.
And that's why they brought in Kennedy from loan from Chelsea.
Kennedy.
For a second season. So potentially, we've got a couple of teams there that, do need to bounce, and hopefully they'll get some movement going between now and the end of the window, which closes on the 9th before the Manchester United Leicester City game on the Friday night. Just a little bit of a quick sports news before we go. Molinari, of course, winning the Golf Open up in Scotland at the weekend. Our own Jamie Davis was there. You'll be back on the show next week. Boo! We don't want to. Boo! Stay in Scotland and
forgot who he is.
Yeah.
Freeze.
He thinks he's got better things to do going off to Scotland.
Yeah, priorities, mate.
Congratulations to Molinari. The Italians will be hosting the Ryder Cup in a couple of years' time. Lewis Hamilton starting off in 14th position in the German Grand Prix after looking fortune due to rain and Sebastian Vettel liking the tyre wall more than he likes the track. Hamilton was able to get ahead and win the race after starting off in 14th. So congratulations to him. He's got a good, nice lead in the championship now. I think it's in the teens now, something like that, ridiculous. And also as well today, Mesut Ozil retiring from international football as well from Germany and quits the German squad over racism. But now he can fully focus on Arsenal and potentially, finally actually deliver to that football club for once, rather than, being the bit part player where, he just attacks and then doesn't bother to come back on the.
We all see what Uli Hoeneß has said as well.
Is this going to be quick?
Yeah, basically he's just said that Ozil's been crap for 3 years anyway. The president of Bayern Munich.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fair enough. All right. My thanks to Joe, Jamie, and Andrew for coming on to the Let's Talk Sports show today. I've been Conor Porter. You've been listening to the Let's Talk Sports show here on Calon 105 FM. We'll be back next week, but unfortunately it won't be me hosting it. It'll be Jamie Davis probably.
Oh,
unless we want to have a coy and and make sure that this stays permanent with me hosting the show from now on. But yes, that's it for me. I'll be on the other side of the desk most probably. But yeah. Come join us next week for more Let's Talk Sport here on Calon 105 FM. Take care. Bye-bye.